Yeah, go ahead.
Namo Fundamental Teacher Shakyamuni Buddha. Namo Fundamental Teacher Shakyamuni Buddha. Namo Fundamental Teacher Shakyamuni Buddha. The deep, profound, the deep, or is it
The
the
unsurpassed.
unsurpassed, deep, profound, subtle, wonderful Dharma in 100,000 million eons is difficult to encounter. Now that I have come to receive and hold it within my sight and hearing, I vow to fathom the thus come one's true and actual meaning.
You know who said it was? Who write it was?
Yeah, it was the only female emperor, the Empress of China. I forget what dynasty she served in, and I forget her name.
I know in Vietnamese, but I don't know in English. Let me see. Let me quickly search for it. Võ Tắc Thiên, Wolf. Let me see. China Empress. Let's see. Chinese Empress. Because the only one anyway. Wu Jin-tian. Yeah, that's right.
What's it,
Wu Jin-tian. You can see the latest. See it good. See a good emperor, empress. But you know what we call male and female, right? When they're jealous, they about male and female. And when
Yeah.
the female are holding the leadership position, and the male will have jealousy.
Yeah.
That's normal. And that's why they say all bad thing about her.
Oh.
Yeah. But she's good. She's actually good. Uh, of course, when you want to become the top, right, you have to do a lot of bad things before that. But once he in the position of governing, it's different.
Hmm.
Anyway, let's go back to our. Okay.
Should I go ahead?
Yeah, go ahead.
National Master Ching Liang, prior to writing the commentary to the Flower Adornment Sutra, beseeched the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas of the sea-wide Flower Adornment Assembly to come to his assistance and bestow some kind of miraculous portent. He went before the Buddhas and bowed to them, seeking with the utmost sincerity of mind. He kept seeking, and then one day he had a dream in which he saw a golden Buddha image, from which was emitted great light that universally illumined the Dharma realm. Thereupon he took the light into both his hands and swallowed it. He ate all that light. After that, he wrote the Flower Adornment Sutra without pause. It flowed from his pen non-stop and required no revision. Because he had opened great wisdom, all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas came to his aid and told him what to write. That state is called the omen of universally illuminating light, and indicated that the light of the Flower Adornment Sutra pervades the Dharma realm.
Okay.
Yeah, so the master clearly is not relating to the Flower Adornment Sutra as like an ordinary book, like an ordinary person might relate to an ordinary book, but is taking this commentary very seriously. And so even before starting to write it, he prayed to the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas for their assistance. So there he's, practicing humility. He's letting go of this idea of self, that he is, that it's his personal wisdom that he's going to share. And he's opening up to the help of of the Sangha, of the Bodhisattvas, Buddhas. I'm being very sincere. And then he had a dream that came to him through that sincerity. And he saw that there was this Buddha emitting golden light, and that it filled the entire Dharma realm. And so he took both of his hands and he swallowed the light. And then following that, he had no difficulty writing the Flower Adornment Sutra, that it just flowed like he couldn't stop it. He just wrote continuously. And this was because of the assistance of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. So saying that state is called the omen of universally illuminating light. And so the dream was indicating that the light of the Flower Adornment Sutra pervades the Dharma realm. So I guess the dream could be seen as an omen that he was in the right sort of alignment to be able to create that commentary.
Okay. So do you have any kind of experience like this?
I've had a dream not quite like this. I've had a dream involving light. But not one where there's a Buddha emitting light like that. You'd think maybe, I've been practicing reading the Lotus Sutra for a while. In the very first paragraph, it's like, why does this light illumine from? You'd think that might get into my dreams by now, but I haven't had that.
Not yet.
Not yet. I have had one where I was in kind of a beautiful, it seemed kind of like maybe a little bit like Irish Highlands or Scottish Highlands sort of like scene, but it was warmer and it wasn't foggy. It was really clear. There's a clear blue sky. There were some people around me, but they weren't really important. And then there was this vibration, like the earth was kind of vibrating, and then it like grew, and then this bright light that like expanded, and until it enveloped everything dissolved in light. But I didn't see a Buddha image, and I also didn't try to like eat the light. Like I personally dissolved in the light. That was a cool one. I remember waking up from that, and that one brought a very interesting feeling with it.
And you remember in the Earth Store Bodhisattva Sutra, one of the chapters said that if the person who have a very difficulty to memorize the Mahayana Sutra, and even though there's a number of good advisors help them to guide them, they still will not be able to do so due to their heavy karma that they cannot be able to. They cannot be able to do it. So if you set the water in front of the Earth-Store Bodhisattva, and when you offer that water, and for one day and night, and you can use that water to before you drink it, use you set that you turn toward to the south, right? And drink that water, and also keep the preset, uphold the preset, feel it for 21 days or whatever. Later on, the Bodhisattva will in the dream, right? He will his hand will put on top of your head, and that's how in the morning when we wake up, that person be able to remember all the sutra once he read it. Yeah.
I remember reading that part.
Yeah. So this is important. And one of the when I read one of the Theravada's teaching sutra, there were the reason that people when let's say that we learn and we memorize something, right? Suddenly we forget, and something that we have not read it yet, but we be able to memorize very easily. And what were the reason for not memorizing? because there are many there are many criteria that the trigger that we forget. One of them is when our mind, the read, it occupy our mind. Even though we memorize that thing it very clearly and by heart, but on that moment we forget because the read it occupy our mind, or because of the hatred. That means when we are angry, hatred will occupy our mind, or when we have a doubt, it occupy our mind at that moment. We not be able to remember the thing that we remember. And when we have an affliction, right? It distracts us and we cannot remember. And so on and so on. Opposite. Let's say that we haven't read those things yet, but when we read it, we'll be able to remember because we don't have those things. So that means when we are sincere to practice and we follow the Buddha teachings strictly, it's not easy, right? It's not easy to have a sincere mind. When we have a sincere mind, we in the concentrated the state, right? That means our mind becomes very fully focused in whatever we're doing. And that's why we be able to increase our wisdom somehow, maybe, right? Increase our memory somehow. I told you that when I was a layman, right? Whenever I read consonant only, maybe 1 or 2 pages, I fall asleep very quickly. Because it's too complicated and it's very hard to understand, too many terminology, and it's that already turned me away. But when I become a novice monk, and the day I became a novice monk, and inside me, the force inside me put me into the direction to go forward, to research on the consonant only. And I don't know why it said to me that it's one of the most important subjects. And it took me 3 months, learn day and night, and fully focus on it. And at that time, I very focused to study, and I research on the web as well as book, both English and Vietnamese. On the web most of the time, with more than 30 or 40 different sources. I will not be able to understand what they try to say. Not fully understand, you know what I mean? My understanding is not fully connected. That's what I say. And I said, what's going on here? So I usually recite about the one seeing Bodhisattva name to help me. And one day, you know what? One day I don't remember what I did. At that moment, somehow I see the light. I see the tiny light, and when I see it, all the disconnected become fully connected. That means all the source I read, now it connected. It really makes sense. When you fully focus and you into it, and that's how it works. Just like this master, right? He devoted his time and all thing into the Dharma. And that's why he be able to have this the dream, and due to his state of the mind, sincerity, and well concentrated. And that help him to be able to have the wisdom, and everything he writing the commentary, it flowing from ever the wisdom that allow him, so he be able to understand clearly, just like he see truth very clearly. It's not like us, right? We and this sutra is very tough to understand. It's not easy, because the science, even though this sutra, scientists, they can look into this sutra, it will help them a lot. But science is still a small section of this sutra. That means the wisdom. It's so tiny compared to the Buddha wisdom. Okay. All right, that's good. Okay, go ahead.
When he was actually into the writing of the commentary, another state occurred. He dreamed he turned into a dragon whose head extended to the southern peak of Wutai Mountain and whose tail stretched to the northern peak. Shortly afterwards, he changed into quintillions of dragons, which flew off into space and then disappeared. As he thought about it later, he realized, oh, the Flower Adornment Sutra will disseminate to the exhaustion of space. And everywhere throughout the Dharma realm, there will be the Flower Adornment Sutra. Those of you who succeed in opening your 5 eyes will see the Flower Adornment Sutra present to the exhaustion of empty space, and everywhere throughout the Dharma realm. The commentary to the Flower Adornment Sutra, written by Master Qing Liang, is also everywhere. You can see them as soon as you enter Samadhi. Wow. So Master Qing Liang had another dream while he was writing the commentary. And in this, he saw himself turning into a dragon whose head extended all the way to the southern peak of this mountain, of a peak of 5 mountains, or the Wutai Mountains, of 5 peak mountains, and its tail stretched to the northern peak. So huge dragon. And then he transformed into quintillions of dragons, which is a big number, flew off into space and disappeared. And it struck him that the meaning to this was that the Flower Adornment Sutra will disseminate throughout the entire Dharma realm. And so those who can open their 5 eyes, that would be the 5 supernatural powers, the 5 transcendental powers, I think.
Yeah, you know what? No. Do you know what are the 5 eyes?
The 5 eyes. It's not the same as the 5 transcendental powers.
Hold on. Sorry for the kids practice the line and they play the drum. Did you hear the background?
No.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
Are the 5 eyes the same as the 5 transcendental powers?
No, they are different. The eye, the first one is our ordinary eye, right? That means we cannot see through the wall.
Mm-hmm.
The divine eye, they can see through the wall and far.
Okay.
The Dharma eye, the eye be able to distinguish the Dharma, right? The wisdom eye, right? That means the eye be able to distinguish, to be able to have the experience mean for practice, to have the right practice for certain people. The Buddha eye. So is that 5 eye?
Yeah.
That is the other eye. The Buddha eye, that means he sees through without problem
Gotcha.
through an entire universe. So that's the 5 eye we are talking about. So let me see. Change to the dragon, flew on to space, disappear, and he thought about it later anyway. Do that closet and everywhere throughout the number of name will be. Okay, in the dream, right? He dreamed that he turned into the dragon, and his head extended to the south peak of Wutai mountain, and the tail is all the way to the north. That means from south to north of the mountain. Afterward, he changed into Queen dragon. Quirium dragon, that means a lot of dragon.
Quintillions, yeah. Quintillion is a big number. I think it's like 10, 1 and then 15 zeros, maybe. That's what I think.
Wow. Into the space, then disappear. And he thought about it later. Oh, the flower don't sutra. So the flower, the sutra, it represents for the cosmos, the Buddhist cosmos, as well as the Bodhisattva path. Let's see. Okay. And he soon have the 5 eye as well as the samadhi, right? Wow. Okay. And that's why you remember one of the master that I forgot his name. Is he read the Dharma Flower Sutra so many times, and one time he entered into samadhi, and he be able to see the Buddha assembly in the peak mountain. Is that where they núi Linh Thu, right? In the peak mountain. That's where he always expound the teaching.
Oh, like when he was in a physical body on Earth, and
right.
There are a few, but like Rajagriha, Vulture's Peak.
Oh, Vulture's Peak, right.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Right, he enter into that state, and he be able to see the Buddha assembly still there. And the Buddha is still teaching the Dhamma Flower Sutra. That means it's still teaching. Wow, interesting. And that's why in Buddhism, right, the Buddha teach many different states of liberation, right? And depend on who's practice, and they can be able to attend the first one is the stream enter, second one is the second state of Arahat, and third state and four go on, and to the Pasika Buddha as well, the Bodhisattva. And that means those is the one who enter into that state. They are the one actually experience by themselves. Does it make sense? And that means they be able to really understand the Buddha teaching not only by word, by actual state. And other religion teaching is mostly based on the faith, right? On their faith. But I don't know, they have the actual state that they can enter into it. That's what I don't know. But other religion, like in Brahman, that means the Hindus, when they practice, they can enter into the fourth state of the meditation. Or that means the form and the fourth state of deep concentration in the formless. Yeah, they do. And and that's why even though right now those states is very tough to get in, but we only based on our faith to believe that that many arahats be able to attend the arahat state, Pasika state, or whatever, right? Okay, go ahead.
We have just finished discussing the preface and concluding gatha to the commentary, which is the first section of the prologue. The remainder of the prologue will take at least a year to lecture, being longer than the wonderful Dharma Lotus Flower Sutra. The Flower Adornment Sutra was spoken by the Buddha while in Samadhi, using the mind in Samadhi to speak the Dharma of Samadhi, in order to cross over the Bodhisattvas whose minds were in Samadhi. There in the Flower Adornment Sutra to the exhaustion of empty space and of the Dharma realm. If you do not believe it, there is no way I can convince you. If you look into it, gradually you will come to believe. This kind of state is utterly inconceivable, and will be even more so when we discuss the actual text of the sutra. There's fundamentally no way for you to understand this kind of state and know what it is like. If you try to use the thought of an ordinary person, you basically will not be able to conceptualize these principles if you do not understand the Buddha Dharma. That is why it needs to be lectured, which will be done rather superficially, discussing its principles in terms of what you do know. Then little by little, you will understand it. Yes. Yeah, of course. I think Master Swanhua's description here is so excellent. I appreciate it. And talking about how, like, expedient means of first lecturing, this is at the end of what he said, first lecturing superficially, so that someone begins to understand, kind of get a hold of it in a way. And then it's been my personal experience that gradually the teachings unfold more and more. The same teaching continues to unfold. And so with a sutra like this that is so lofty and profound and expansive, it makes sense that, Master Swanhua here is making it clear that these principles, these states are inconceivable. Like the way in which, a non-enlightened being can understand them is necessarily going to be superficial until someone, experiences samadhi. Because the Flower Adornment Sutra was spoken by the Buddha while he was in samadhi, speaking to bodhisattvas in samadhi. So that's a very subtle state where they're able to really, their awareness, their consciousness is so different from what our just daily normal consciousness is. But what really caught me was the remainder of the prologue will take at least a year to lecture. So before even getting into the sutra, just finishing the prologue will take a year to lecture.
That scare you up already?
No, it doesn't scare me. It's surprising. I didn't expect the prologue. I mean, I don't have any time constraints here other
Okay, that's
than
good.
death. Hopefully I have some time before death.
That's why that tells us that is the Buddha wisdom in word. You would to describe the limited of word, but use it by the mean. This is the wisdom of the Buddha. And you know that it's science, right? Usually in science, scientists, they are usually the way ordinary people thinking is when a particle can be a particle, cannot be a non-particle, right? Form it's solid, it means it's solid. Cannot be non-solid at the same time, right? And you see proton. Proton can be solid, can be a particle, and can also be a wave, right? When you look at if you look at the light bulb, that is the proton in the form of particle. When you look at the brain, right, our brain, and you monitor it, you see the wave, right? That is the proton in form of the wave. And you know what? At the beginning, scientists they cannot accept it. No, how is that possible? But this is reality. Then they have to accept it. So not only so, and to the Buddha teaching, it's beyond, and to the Buddha, our Buddha nature, right? We manifest everything into mental, into material, right? The consonant makes all these things due to the consonant. That is the consonant so powerful. What about the wisdom? The Buddha wisdom, that means the Buddha nature. It's even powerful than that. So, if we use the consonant state to explain the non-consonant state, that means the Buddha nature, nowhere. We go nowhere. But at least, little by little, we understand. Right? Science at the beginning, they don't understand that our mind affect the environment. They thought the environment affect us. When they don't know about the consonant, but now they do. They know that the consonant is the one who affect the environment. And that's why they appreciate the Buddha teaching so much. Because the Buddha said that everything is by the mind make, right? The mind is the creator. They make everything. I mean the consonant. It's everything. So not so many religions understand this concept. Do you think?
Oh yeah, I don't think any other religions talk about, other than Hinduism, talk about consciousness really at all. And the mind's ability to affect the environment. Yeah, it doesn't really I can't think of anything. I haven't studied all of them in depth, so I'm not sure. But my sense from what I am familiar with, no, they don't strike me as talking much about them. Besides, maybe the Kabbalah might have some stuff in that. The Jewish Kabbalah might have some, and the Hindu stuff has a little bit, I think.
But the Hinduism, they also believe the Creator, right?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
when the whole idea, they want to unite it with the Creator. Let
Mhm.
it go. So that means that is the consciousness. And try to unite with the Creator. The Creator here is the Brahma King. The first state of heaven of form. So, and that means they have very limited to understand about the mind. Even though right now the psychology, right, psychiatrists and the psychologists, they also understand the mind a little bit. They know that all the sickness of the mind come from the mind. All the sickness come from the mind. And that's why they come up with the CBT, the cognitive behavior therapy. And they recognize at least 15 or 16 different category or different type of cognitive distortion. Well, when we come to the point that I will say you the depression, and you will learn a lot about this thing. Do you know about the CBT?
Yes.
How much you know about that?
I'd say a decent amount. I mean, we reviewed a lot of the CBT, the DBT, the ACT, MSBR. So like the DBT or the CBT was one of the more kind of the earlier approaches, and has an element of mindfulness to it, but it's not the same sort of mindfulness in Buddhism. Like DBT and ACT are closer to the kind of classically described Buddhist mindfulness. As I understand, CBT is kind of like, let me become aware of my thinking and the associated feelings, and then notice when the way I'm thinking doesn't make sense. So those are the cognitive distortions, like oh, I got a stain on my shirt, so the rest of my day is over. It's horrible. It's terrible. It's like, well, getting a stain on my shirt doesn't really mean that the rest of my day is terrible. Getting the stain on my shirt could mean that, people will understand. Everybody gets a stain on their shirt sometime. So it's like trying to become aware of those cognitive distortions and their negative emotional consequence, and then replacing them with a better way of thinking about it.
So the way they using that for the treatment is whenever the patient is have the negative thinking, we help them to reframe their mind, help them to convert the negative into positive. At least for that way, they'll be able to be mindful on that way. This is important. And you know what? This is one of the good methods to help them to later on the patient can become a doctor of their own sickness. Because we don't expect them to follow the psychologist or psychiatrist all the time. They have only certain section. When they stop, they should have something to carry on for themselves. That is the approach. Okay. All right. So we complete this thing.
There's probably no other place in the entire world where the Flower Adornment Sutra is being lectured. At the very least, this Dharma assembly will take 5 years for the sutra to be completely lectured. During that time, all of you young people will get oil, maybe old, will get old. And maybe the old people will die. And having died, exchange their bodies and come back to hear the sutra some more. There may be a lot of transformations within that 5-year period, a lot of changes of face. People who did not previously believe in the Buddha, upon hearing, will believe. Those who previously believe, after hearing it, will proceed to cultivate. Therefore, with this flower adornment assembly about to begin in America, all of you are the most sincere of those who study the Buddha Dharma in the entire world. Consequently, this is an opportunity difficult to meet.
Mm.
Ooh, wow. What a great way to set the stage for it. Like how in a lot of the teachings they talk about how precious it is to have the opportunities, the advantages, the conditions in order to practice the Dharma, to be born in the right place, to have all our faculties, to be smart enough to understand the Dharma, to have an interest in the Dharma, you know, for the Dharma to be present in the world, like all of the different things to be there, so that we then see that this event, this opportunity is precious and it gives us a motivation. So like you were just talking about with the CBT, creating a positive context, the sort of context that Master Swanhua is creating is like, how amazingly lucky are you to be able to be here and hear this sutra? This sutra is so powerful and makes so much possible that it really calls everybody listening to the commentary to be single-minded and to meet this opportunity with sincerity. But wow, 5 years of lecturing it, that's pretty cool.
Well, maybe for us it's 10 years.
Probably longer for us, yeah. An hour every week. I bet he was lecturing like daily.
Yeah. And not only about this sutra, but in general for the Mahayana Sutra, it's not easy for the Buddhists in general to recite or to learn, right? It's not easy. Even though a lot of people they are really devoted Buddhism, but you know what? Even though they recite the sutra so many times, but they still not understand it. Right? So if we be able to read the sutra in Mahayana Sutra in general, and to be able to understand it, that is a wonderful blessing. That we have rooted in the past. So we should not waste it, and we should use it very carefully, and also continue cultivating, and don't lose this, don't waste this, our body as a human. And maybe when we come back, we can even go further, right? So this is important. And especially in the American, right, in the Western people, it's not easy for them to sit down and listen to the Dharma. Not easy at all. For the young people, no, I don't think so. Okay, I'm on more our battery, so let me plug it in first. And we will. That's why I spent almost a whole week to have many different classes for the youth, for the young people to learn and teach them from very basic all the way up to now the high school kid, the 7th grade, all the way to 12. I already teach them I finished the teaching of the 12 link. And that is one of the top subjects for them to understand. But the way we do it, so they easily to understand. So, yeah. And okay. So let's stop right here. Let's go back to well,
May every living being, our minds as one and radiant with light, share the fruits of peace with hearts of goodness luminous and bright. If people hear and see how hands and hearts can find in giving unity, may their minds awake to great compassion, wisdom, and to joy. May kindness find reward. May all who sorrow leave their grief and pain. May this boundless light break the darkness of their endless night. Because our hearts are one, this world of pain turns into paradise. May all become compassionate and wise. May all become compassionate and wise.
and on right now I have the high school kid every Sunday night from 8 to 9. I teach them the concept only. I start from that concept only. Yeah, they learn with me maybe a month already, more than a month. So maybe 2 months. So I hope that class is going smoothly, and that they learn in Vietnamese. So because they like to hear in Vietnamese, and hopefully they can. Because I'm afraid that they're too busy with the school. I don't know how long they can hold up with the class. So hopefully they will be able to continue. Okay. All right. Thank you. I see you next week. Yeah. Next week we will jump into the book, right?
Okay.
Then I will look into the summary of each chapter, and we can only do the maybe the not the poem. We can, the verse we can skip,
Okay.
right?
Just
Because the verse is just a summary, right?
okay.
So we don't have to do all the way.
Yeah. Whatever you think is best. Yeah, I'm happy either way. So you
Yeah, because that help us to speed up, I guess.
and then if we get done and we're like, oh, this went too fast, it only took us 15 years, we can go back and we can read the we can read
Right,
the poems,
right,
the
right.
poems.
Wow, I'm very happy that you have a very positive attitude on the learning the sutra.
Yeah,
Mm.
when I first got into Buddhism, I did feel like I was in a big rush and I was very urgent and I feel like I needed to prove something and understand something and right away make it happen, force it. But it's like I appreciate the kind of the unfolding that continually happens and
Mm.
there's no
When I was
and I
young,
need the recurrent reminder. I really need the recurrent reminder too. Sorry,
mm,
Teddy, what you saying?
when I was young, about 20, I seeking for the master to be able to teach me the Buddhism. And in 1990, no internet, nothing. It's very tough to learn the Buddha teaching at that time.
Mhm.
And I did a few years, and I give up. And later on, I come back to focus on my study, and I finish it. When I finish it, I'll be able to focus on the Buddhism. Um, so yeah, all right, thank you.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you, Ty.